Clack, let's stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we got a little bit of business to take care of really quick. Does anybody have any motions?
I'd like to move to have nominate Kimberly Rice for the role of supervisor this evening.
Support.
All right, motion and support. Any discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
I also would like to nominate Trustee Thering to be the temporary clerk for a few minutes.
Support.
All right, motion and support. Any discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Now we have roll call, please. Mr. Thering?
Roll call. Treasurer Rice.
Here.
Trustee Smith.
Here.
Trustee Bills.
Here?
Trustee Brown.
Here.
Trustee Thering. Here. We are, Clerk Cody is excused, and so is Supervisor Milky. Excused.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. And do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve. Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Moving right along. So that brings us down to public comment. This is restricted to 3 minutes. Presentations. I'm sorry. You probably want to speak, don't you?
I don't know if you guys want to hear me.
Yeah, we do.
Yes, we do.
So, like I said, Trustee Smith's been attending our meeting, so I don't want to cover too much of that. Most of the time I'll ask or take any questions that are coming. Basically, the board's just really been busy. Personally, I've been meeting a lot of different groups. A lot of the opposition for the initial millage, we've been meeting with them. I think once we explained things, that one group gave us 24 questions, and we went through all the 24 questions and answered them. And I think they a lot of them get it now, so hopefully our regular millage will pass. We're still tweaking and working on the budget. We're doing basically a zero-based budget. We're starting from zero and we're building up and making the cuts that the people wanted us to make. Some of the things we're doing are a little bit different. Like I had a question with on the jail furniture, and they go, well, how come that's separate on there? I said, well, we figured out that if the county buys it, we don't have to pay sales tax on it. So we're taking it if the Clark Construction has to buy it, then they have to pay sales tax. So we're doing whatever we can. The county building is pretty well cleared, and we're still doing a lot of different options on there, anywhere from selling the building outright to doing one floor, doing all the floors. We're still trying to determine how much space we actually need. So that's ongoing. So with that, I will take any questions.
Any
Okay.
questions?
Thank you.
Are you
Thank-
guys going to be floating a millage in November for the public safety?
We're still working on that. It's not going to be called public. I'm one of the ones that will not call the public safety. It's going to be a very specific, it'll be for either a road patrol or a sheriff, and it will be exactly what, excuse me, a lot of dust lately. It'll be very specific. It's going to be a lot less. We're still negotiating with the other group that wanted that, and what they initially wanted we thought was too high. We're also asking a lot of the other groups that are going to have millages that we asking them, even though it's gonna be renewal millages on, with the parks and the IRAD. We're actually saying, well, look at your budget, because we might not, you know, even though the millage passed, we would like you to come with a less budget, so to take less of the past millage, because those are some of the things we're asking them to do, because we don't think they're telling us that people want some relief on taxes, so we're asking them to do the budget. So if they pass, they might not get the full millages if, you know.
Yeah.
We're just asking because they want less taxes, so we're trying to figure a way to do that. So.
Okay, thanks a lot, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, moving right along. Public comment. This is restricted to 3 minutes regarding items on this agenda. We will open at 7:06. Is there anyone online?
There's not.
There's not. And if there's anyone here in person that wants to speak, please come on up. State your name and
I'm John
address.
Zang. I was on the Mid-Michigan Aquatic Recreation Authority, and there'll be something on your agenda to terminate that board, and that was a group that was formed. It was a good idea to have this community pool. In my discussions, I find that everybody wants one, but it turns out they're not willing to pay for it. But nonetheless, I wanted, before your action, I at least wanted to thank you personally, because it's your board, the city, and the school that made this endeavor possible. Cost it out to figure out what it would take. I feel bad that it was unsuccessful, but I do appreciate your effort. Especially, I'd like to commend Mark for his help with us when we get stuck in something. We'd call him Mark to help us, and that those kind of things are very helpful, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And
you.
can we get your address just for,
623 Hopkins, Mount Pleasant.
thank you.
Thanks for all your work on that, John.
Yeah, thank
Yes,
you.
thank you.
Really appreciate it. Sorry it didn't pass.
All right. Anybody else wish to speak? All right. Not seeing any. I'm going to close public comment at 7:07 p.m. Moving right along. Reports and board comments. Current list of boards and commissions. I think we're going to leave that one for when Supervisor Milky gets back, if everybody is okay with that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So May monthly activity report. Is there any questions anybody has with that one?
Chairperson, that report was not in your packet.
Correct.
It's indicated it will come under separate cover, and the board will get that by the end of the week.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Planning Commission, EDA, and ZBA updates by our Community and Economic Development Director. Mr. Nanny, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. See you this evening. Our zoning board of appeals did not meet this month. They did not have any agenda items. The Economic Development Authority board met yesterday afternoon in this room. The primary business item was an ongoing look at restoring the irrigation system along the section of M20 East Pickard Road, where the road construction removed that system last year. This is something they've been having discussion on several different meetings. During this meeting, they took a step forward to request qualifications for design professionals that can assist them in identifying the appropriate scope of work for that future system. So it should look at having a design professional be available to help them consider options and look at exactly what elements are important to include in an updated system. So staff will be putting out a request for qualifications for irrigation design professionals for the board to take a look at next month on that topic. The Planning Commission also met yesterday evening in this room and had a very busy agenda. The first item was a sad note. They did accept the resignation of Doug LaBelle as a planning commissioner. They also had several site plan items. One is they approved the final site plan for a new Valvoline instant oil change. This will be on Bluegrass Road, Southside Bluegrass Road, right next door to the Members First Credit Union, so just west of Encore Boulevard. So that project's moving forward. The plan was approved without any conditions. Everything was in order. They had two items related to the Prestige Center. This is an assisted living facility over on East Broadway Road, just this side of Somerton. The existing facility dates back to the 1980s. This was our first plan unit development zoning district approval, and as part of that, basically the approval was for an expansion of that facility. The project received a final site plan approval in 2022, late 22. I'm sorry, no, June of 22. With there's a need for an extension of that final site plan. The deadline, the expiration date for that is coming up. So the developers who continue to work towards getting this project started, they did file a request for an extension. And they cited essentially market conditions, construction costs as challenging the financing for the project, but they did indicate that they are continuing forward with that. The Plan Commission did grant that extension. It's a 1-year extension of that site plan. The second item related to the same project was approval of some adjustments related to landscaping and the sidewalk that will be installed across the frontage. These are details as the engineer was working on some updates to the plans. There's recognition that there need to be some modifications that ultimately required Planning Commission action. So they did take action to accept the changes and allow those to be included in an updated version of the final site plan. The other items on their agenda were ordinance related. The first one was they did take action after additional discussion to recommend approval of an updated private road ordinance. So that will be coming to you as the next step. The other item on their agenda was an initial review of a proposal to update the sidewalk and pathway ordinance. This ordinance is original ordinance dates to 2009. We have a kind of a punch list of items that the Plan Commission has reviewed previously and agreed to pursue. And that updated draft ordinance was in their hands to take a look at. They did take a look at it. They had some direction related, some adjustments they would like to make. So an updated version of the ordinance will be back on their agenda for next month, with the intent that that also would ultimately be recommended by the Commission to you for a final action. With that, I'm sorry, I should add one more thing related to sidewalks. As part of that discussion, the ordinance, there was a pretty extensive discussion about our 2018 sidewalk policy related to temporary relief from construction. And so based on a request from the Commission, that will also be on the agenda for coming up in a future meeting to begin looking at that policy as well and making recommendations for adjustments there. And so with that, I'm happy to answer any questions we have.
Any questions?
No, that was thorough. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And board member reports. Let's start over with Trustee Thering. Do you have anything?
I am all set. Mr. Nanny did a wonderful job.
Okay. All right. Trustee Brown?
All set tonight.
Trustee Bills?
We had a really good meeting at the intergovernmental meeting this morning, and I have a lot of things to update you on. So for the city, they talked about the trash pickup in the city, possibly changing to a, automatic pickup instead of having to do the bag tags. And I know some of the people in the city don't like those tags. It's just kind of an irritation to have to put them on there and go down and buy them and stuff. So that's going to be, they negotiated a contract with Granger, and the city commission will see that in Q2. and discuss it. Then also for the recycling, Granger is going to pick that up as well, and may actually just be delivering it right to the MRF here in Isabella County. And I can't remember what he called it, but there was they adopted a new code, NCIS or something.
International Property Maintenance Code.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. And so that's why they're trying to update some of the structural deficiencies downtown. And for the pathway that's going from Nelson Park to Hannes Bark Park has been pushed out to 2025 by MDOT. And he said that's just fine with him because of the fact that MDOT gave him $400,000, so they're gonna go ahead and take their schedule. So that, and they're thinking about moving that to the west side of Crawford Road because Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe is going to be making a kind of a museum facility out of the old boarding school. And they wanted it put on the west side so that it would go through there and then it'd offer some walkways for people that are coming to visit. And so they're trying to get that through, and that shouldn't be a problem because all the stakeholders are in agreement that that would be fine. And Town Center is ahead of schedule. The deadline is August 29th, and of the downtown Town Center. And they said that, they don't want to say it's going to be ahead of schedule, but it is right now. On the Placer AI project, which is the one that traces the cell phone data in aggregate, they've got a bunch of people that all the main, university, whatnot, and a bunch of companies are involved and want to, be involved in that. So they're moving ahead with that. Mission Street Corridor Plan. They're doing a survey right now. The survey is available on the city website, and they'd like everybody to complete the survey so that they can get a good idea of what people are thinking. And so that survey will be finished in the end of Q3. And then the county, for the sheriff's department, that new building is 70% complete and will be probably completed December 2024. And the sheriff is going to move into it after a couple of months of training, and they'll be effective early 2025. They're doing some MRF upgrades, which they had already planned to do. And all 3 floors of the downtown county building have been abated, as the commissioner said, except for the boiler room, which will be done in July. And they've already signed up Spicer Group for the architect and Spence Brothers for the construction of that building, but they don't know how they're going to utilize the space because they realized they didn't need that much space. So, yeah. And then as far as Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe, they have a new housing unit, which is over by Zibwing, and it's going to be permanent housing, but transitional, it sounds like. And so that'll be helpful for their people that are trying to integrate back into society and whatnot. As well as they have a new Saginaw Chippewa Academy K-5, Remus Road off Shepherd Road, and Konwinski is doing the construction on that. And then I wasn't sure on all the details, but they're working with MDOT, I think, for Leeton Road temporary closure, and they may have a permanent closure there. He said there was been like 54 or 56 accidents since June of 2022 or something like that. Some ridiculous amount of accidents on that corner. So they're probably going to either do a serious modification, or close it all together and make something different. And they're going to put they're thinking about a roundabout. I don't know if it's finalized, but they're doing on M20. They're going to do a roundabout at Somerton, so that the concert goers and whatnot don't go crazy and try to do those U-turns all the time. That's cool, right? And they have 9 concerts scheduled for this summer. But he said that the talent is now getting really picky, and they won't want to schedule ahead, and they want to just kind of fill slots in their schedule. So he's trying to get 3 more concerts in September. But yeah, he says it's a lot harder, but they are planning to do they're planning to do they're expanding. So it leaked out. I don't know how much you guys know, They're gonna have a 10 to 15,000 seat facility for a huge venue. That's gonna be cool. And he wanted to bring our attention to the June 6th boarding school. They have a ceremony there, and there's 2 powwow dates. There's the Saginaw Chippewa Tribe powwow, July 26th through 28th, and then there's an alternate powwow, and I'm not sure what he called that one, but it's June 8th and 9th. It's just a little bit away from there. That's all I've got on that meeting.
Any questions? Okay, very
Oh,
good.
and I'm sorry, and manager stool dryer went over our stuff, which we already know about.
Okay. All right. Trustee Smith.
Okay, some of the highlights of the county work session last night. They had the presentation. Mr. McBride from Middle Michigan Development did his annual presentation. They went over some normal invoices, change orders, and some of the things that I found very interesting involved the courts, specifically the juvenile and adult drug courts. They're looking at getting redoing some grants for fiscal year 25 for the juvenile drug treatment court, Swift Insure Sanctions Program, and the adult treatment court. One thing that I found very interesting was that out of the drug court, the recidivism rate for Isabella County on the graduates was 0%.
Wow.
And I'm clear on that 0% because it's just like when I took the notes, I'm like that was pretty amazing. I think the state of Michigan was like 11% or something like that. And so I thought, getting that 0% just goes to show what the county and the courts are doing as far as adult treatment for that. And I think that's pretty spectacular. And I guess the adult court's been going since 2003. I think it was one of the first one in the state. And so it's kind of like, I think the county system is kind of a model for ones that don't have it yet. So just a huge shout out for that one. I think that was very interesting. And then on the county community development fee schedules, Tim, to your point, did a presentation, and they have not been updated in 10 years. So they kind of made it, kind of updated the fee schedule, and I think that was in the paper today. But I don't think the paper said anything that it hasn't been done in so many years and stuff like that. So there might have been some small tweaks and stuff, but overall, I think they wanted to kind of get it updated. So those things right there were kind of the highlights of the meeting from last night, and I'm glad Commissioner Engler's here to talk about the millages, because I try not talking about that because I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth. So I try to I stay clear of any millage discussion because I don't want to misinterpret anything in the least bit. So, any questions?
Thank you.
Oh, and I do want one more thing. May 29th on a Wednesday, they have a public hearing for the Planning Commission for the solar in Isabella Township. But that's already been in the paper too, so pretty sizable potential development there.
Perfect. Any other questions? All right. Clerk Cody, do you have anything tonight? All right. I know you guys love hearing this. Tax time. So I have a meeting tomorrow and that, so we will be discussing that for a July 1st due date for getting you guys your taxes.
Yippee skippy.
I can see all the grins. So, for summer taxes. So, and moving on, any motion for consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Right.
Support.
Motion Bills, support Smith. Any discussion?
The accounts payable was reviewed by myself and everything looked good.
Perfect. Anything else? All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right. Consent agenda has been approved. All right. And that brings us to new business. Manager Stuhldreher, did you want to lead us in on the consideration of a request to dissolve the Mid-Michigan Aquatic Recreation Authority?
Yes, thank you, and good evening, everybody. There's a report in your agenda packet that begins on page 17. The board's being asked to take formal action to dissolve the Mid-Michigan Aquatic Recreational Authority. The chairman of that board, John Zhang, was up earlier and talked about that a bit, just to provide a little bit more background. This is an endeavor that goes back several years. Swim Friends of Michigan had a report generated back in 2017 that seemed to indicate that this type of facility would work in this area. Following the receipt of that report, the the township, the school, and the city put together a committee to look at the issue, make a recommendation to those three governing bodies. They did that work. They recommended that the authority that we're speaking of be created. It was. All three bodies approved that. All three bodies appointed members to it. The job of the authority was to figure out where, what to build and all that, and ultimately try to bring a question to the electorate via ballot measure to approve, I think it was 1 mil. And as indicated, that vote did not go through. It was voted down. And so there's no more need for the authority to exist. The Articles of Incorporation have a section in there, it's in your memo, that speaks to how it is to be dissolved. All three bodies need to take action to dissolve it. We're taking the action first. I'm not sure when I think the school's going to do it in mid-June, and I'm not sure about the city. And then once all three bodies have taken their vote, there'll be a communication sent to the Office of the Great Seal of Michigan to formally have that authority no longer on the books. And then any remaining assets of the authority will be split evenly between the three parties. There's a financial report in your packet. Their remaining balance is slightly over $4,000, and so that'll get split three ways. So the recommendation is to make a motion to dissolve that authority and to split those assets per the Articles of Incorporation. Be happy to answer any questions. I will say that I did try to work with the authority as best I could. I did not do it in a capacity of leaning one way or the other. The Board of Trustees had never taken a position other than to try to create an environment where we could bring it to the voters. And so I just helped them with some technical aspects of that endeavor. It was a pleasure working with all of them. I will say that in their existence, they all volunteers. We had contributed, along with the city and the school, a little bit of money along the way because they needed to hire some technical experts, accountants, lawyers, that kind of thing. But they worked very hard, and I think they did a very good job. It was all the members of the committee were great at what they were doing and how they were going about it, the transparency, so you should be proud of the ones that you appointed to that authority. They did a great job. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I'll move to dissolve the Mid-Michigan Aquatic Recreational Authority, MMARA.
Okay. Motion
Support.
and support. Motion Bill, support Smith. Any discussion?
It was a great idea, and unfortunately, the voters didn't think they had the money for it, so.
Yeah. Any other discussion? All right, does this need to be a roll call?
Can.
I wasn't sure, so I thought I'd
Oh
ask.
my God. I had it on sound.
Treasurer
And
Rice.
violence.
Yes.
Jesus.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Bills?
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Thering?
Yes.
Clerk Cody, yes. Oh, yes.
And with that, it is dissolved.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Thank you for,
Thanks, John.
thank you for everything.
Thanks so much.
All
It's
right.
gonna be cheers later then.
And that brings us to policy governance 2.3, compensation and benefits. Manager Stoldryer, did you want to?
Thank you. This report starts on page 22 of your agenda packet. In May of each year, this is the opportunity for the Board of Trustees to review and comment on the administration's compliance with Policy 2.3 titled Compensation and Benefits. This is an annual review. The high-level policy wording states that with respect to employment compensation and benefits to employees, consultants, contract workers, volunteers, and collective bargaining units, the township manager shall not cause or allow jeopardy to fiscal integrity or public image. There are 6 sub-pieces to that policy that I'm not going to read tonight. They are in your packet. I interpret this policy as a whole to indicate that the Board of Trustees wants to ensure that I am not doing anything with my compensation package that's not board approved, that we have salary and benefit structures in place that provide for allow us to be a competitive employer in terms of retention and recruitment, so that they don't deviate materially from what's out there in the market, either geographic or professional, and that through the construct of these compensation packages, and primarily in the area of benefits, that they do not put the long-term fiscal condition of the township in jeopardy. And that can often come into play with establishing long-term retiree health care benefits that may not feel like they're costing much today, but they create significant longer-term liabilities, at least the potential for that. My justification for that interpretation is that this policy is well-written, it's clear, it's not that long. So I think my interpretation is almost self-evident if you read the policy. Some data that I've provided you that's in the packet. My compensation package is reviewed and renewed annually if the board so desires. The last time my contract was approved was in November of 23 with an effective date of 2024. These are annual contracts, and we'll have those discussions again in the fall of this year. I have made no guaranteed promises of employment, either explicitly or implied, to anybody in the organization. That's another item in one of the sub-policies, that the manager is not to give anybody indication that they have guaranteed employment, you know. And I have not, and I would be surprised if you heard otherwise, because that's one of those things, how do you prove it? And to promote retaining of key employees, although they're all key, department heads in particular in this case, I had drafted and the board subsequently approved the use of a department director's employment agreement, which I think we did that last year, which I think will help us continue to be an employer of choice. We're going to have a compensation study done for the Board of Trustees positions and the department directors positions. I'm contemplating that be completed in late '24 or '25 or early '25. We're currently under a collective bargaining agreement with our 2 bargaining units. Those go from January 1 of '23 through December 31 of '25. So they'll be expiring at the end of next year. And then so you can anticipate in the middle of next year, we'll be having discussions first at the board level from a strategic perspective in terms of what kind of direction we want to have from a bargaining position. And then those negotiations would start in the second half of next year. We did have a few open positions during 2023. They were all filled with, under the guidelines of the collective bargaining agreement. They were all posted internally and externally. We interviewed both internal and external candidates, and we use interview team to interview those folks. And in all cases, we hired what we thought at the time and think were the best candidate for the township. So that's my report on that, and be happy to answer any questions you may have.
No?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. So, looking at the policy governance executive limitations evaluation form, was this report submitted when due?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Did the report lay out the manager's interpretation or an operational definition of the policy?
Yes.
Yes.
Is the interpretation justified, or is proof provided to explain why the interpretation is reasonable?
I think
Yes.
Okay. Were we all convinced that the interpretation is justified and reasonable?
Yes.
Yes.
Did it address all aspects of the policy?
Yes.
Yes.
Does the data show compliance with the manager's interpretation of our policy?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Is there any area regarding this policy that you worry that is not clearly addressed?
No.
All right. And is there policy language you would like to see incorporated to address anything?
No.
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 All right. And that brings us to the Board of Trustees annual review of Board Governance Policy number 3.10. Manager Stuhldreher?
Yes, I'll just help the board get started in your discussions. This is a policy within our governance policy document that is applicable to the Board of Trustees. So you will be discussing how you think you all have done in regards to compliance with the policy. At its highest level, the policy states that, quote, because poor governance costs more than learning to govern well, the board will invest in its governance capacity. That's the highest policy statement. There are a number of sub-policies to that. I've included the entire policy in your packet. It starts on page 27, and I guess I'll turn it over back to you then for
right.
your own internal discussion.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so looking at this, did you guys indicate item by item if you believe the board is in strict compliance with the policy as stated? Any discussion?
I can't necessarily say that we are, but I'm not necessarily indicating any of you. I know me as an individual have not taken advantage of the opportunities for the trainings that is talked about. So, no, I say no.
Okay.
Now, other people have done that, which in turn may,
I have a training tomorrow I have to go to.
right,
But-
I'm
Right.
just speaking personally.
Yeah.
You know, we are a board collectively,
But
as an individual.
You took training for the planning commission and stuff like that, didn't you?
I have not attended one this year.
So you're saying in one that we're not in compliance with that?
Well,
Because
isn't that-
I interpret it as that the availability to do this means that we're in compliance, whether individual members take advantage of it or not would not determine compliance or not. So I was just questioning that. My interpretation would be, yes, we are in compliance because the opportunity is there. Manager stool dryer gives us plenty of notice for trainings, and anything else that comes up would also take care of the registration stuff for us. So in my opinion, we're in compliance with it, but that's just my
I
opinion.
guess I was looking at it, that I 100% agree with. I'm talking about taking the board member taking advantage of that opportunity. That was my.
Okay. Yeah,
You
and I see your
absolutely-
point. I see your
Absolutely
point.
correct.
Yeah.
So
I
I
see
mean,
your point.
it's there.
Yeah.
But you have to actually do the training to. Obviously, I have opportunity
Yeah.
to do something yet this year, which then I would feel would put me in compliance. And I'm speaking me because I don't know of all the other trainings that people go to.
I do quite a bit.
Yeah,
Like I did 4 online ones.
No, I
got
know
one
you-
tomorrow in person.
Right.
But yeah, there's a lot of trainings for the
Yeah.
clerk area. I don't know about.
So from an administrative aspect of it, yes, no issue in that respect.
Okay.
Anybody else? Okay. If you think that the board is not in strict compliance with the policy as stated, indicate what you notice that gives evidence of the board is not in compliance. I think we kind of
Just
touched
did
base
that.
with that already, so
Got that covered. Good.
I think we're good there. I guess, did anybody else, I know we had one of each opinions on, if they felt we were in compliance or not. Did anybody else have an opinion they wanted to state?
I think we are in compliance as a board, and I also think that, if something's not required, people aren't not gonna do it all the time.
Right.
Like Clerk Cody, your stuff is required. Am I
Not
right?
all of it. Some of
No?
it I just do just
Yeah.
to know more,
Yeah, and I mean, I go to some of the breakfast things, and I've gone to a training, but not every year.
No.
And so, you do it as you can. That's what I think.
I guess in that respect, when you put it like that, then I would say that we are in compliance. The year's not over yet,
Yeah.
so
And there have been many that you have gone to.
Yeah.
in the past,
So,
yeah, I mean, I've done some, yeah.
so I
Yeah.
would have to
Planning-
agree with them.
planning
You've-
commission
you've
included.
Definitely, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and how do you think the board could improve the process of this?
You
Do you
can
have
bring people in to train. And I think that would be a lot more accessible for us if we did that. That's the only thing I would say.
Do you have anything specific in mind?
Well, like for the one I went to what the heck?
Policy
What was that
governance?
called? Yeah, the policy governance boot camp thing.
Mhm.
And they have people that go around and do the boot camp at people's, at your own, leisure.
We've done that in the past as
Yeah.
well, so,
I think with each new board we've done.
yeah.
Not this board.
At least.
Oh, no?
Yeah, we did.
My-
Well,
We
I
did-
I
That
thought
was
I
the
did
very
it
first
twice.
thing
I
we
was
did.
gonna say,
We did it online.
We-
Yeah.
did it a couple times.
Well, we were actually, when
COVID.
we first started as a
Yeah.
board, we were
So,
virtual, and
yeah.
we had, I think, meeting before the meeting is what we did.
Yeah, I think so,
I believe that's how we did that.
so. Okay, and what does the board need to learn to discuss in order to live by its policies more completely?
I'm good.
Anything?
Half the battle is done with the administration
Yeah,
literally bringing us everything,
Yeah.
the opportunities.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. The manager stool dryer lets us know when things are available for training too, all the time,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
so.
Yes.
Yes, very good with that. All right, any other discussion?
May I comment?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's important to recognize that there's a lot in this policy, and only a piece of it has to do with training. Okay?
Sure.
And if you look at all the others, it has to do with assignments to boards, city, county, whatnot, attendance. You assign yourself to these boards, you attend them, as evidenced by your reports that come out each time. And I'll just reread the top level. It says, because poor governance costs more than learning to govern well. There are a lot of ways to learn to govern well. And one of those is by doing, yes, the training that was the focus of your conversation, but also learning to govern well means going to see your colleagues in other cities and communities, attend their meetings, come back and report. You're doing a lot of learning that way.
Yeah.
So I know there was a lot of discussion on, off-site or on-site training on specific topics, but from somebody that has a bit of experience in this field, I think Union Township boards, and this is the third one, takes governing well very seriously, and does things to try to govern well. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank
Well
you.
stated.
I got a comment.
Yeah.
Oh, we do, like the county clerk, we do a meeting with all the clerks, and it's like really helpful, discussing everything and getting ready for elections and giving each other input, working together. But that's one of the meetings I don't really mention too much, but we normally do it around election time.
Yeah.
A lot.
All right, any other discussion? All right, then moving on to extended public comment. This is restricted to 5 minutes regarding any issue, and I will open extended public comment at 7:47. Is there anybody online?
There's not.
Okay, anybody in the public which to speak in person? All right. And we are going to close extended public comment at 7:48 p.m. Manager comments.
Thank you. Just a couple, it'll be quick. I did renew the township subscription to MTA's online learning subscription at a premium level. It's their top level, but I think it's well worth the money. Staff, board members, planning commission members, ZBA members, all take advantage of it. So that's been renewed for the next year. We were notified that the 2% grant award meeting will be next week, May 29th. We would not be invited if we weren't awarded at least one of our applications that's submitted, so that's good news. And then I will be out of the office just for a little extended holiday, half of this Friday and likely Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. And then I do want to, and Trustee Bills mentioned it, the Tribe's Honor and Healing Day is scheduled for June 6th. If any of you have an opportunity to attend that for part of the day, it starts early in the morning with a prayer type of service and goes all day long. It's really quite impressive, and I'd encourage anybody that has a little bit of time that day to stop by. We will have township representatives there because we feel it's important to support the tribe in this I don't know what to call it, matter, situation, or what have you. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any comments for Mark?
Nope.
All right, moving on to final board member comments. I'm gonna start over here with Trustee Brown, if you have anything.
Everybody enjoy and have a safe holiday. So enjoy your 3-day or hopefully 4-day weekend, some case 5-6-day weekend. Enjoy. Have a safe one.
Trustee Bills?
Yeah, so, a week ago, we got the resignation of, Mr. Doug LaBelle, and that was shocking. So I just have to say, I was very shocked that he immediately resigned, on the spot. And, then he sent us some emails that were a little bit troubling for me because, and I just have to say this in open meeting because, I think that we, as a township, might want to try to do a little better with customer service. He's on our side too, and I don't know the whole history of whatever animosity there is there, but I can tell you this, that the first class I went to was customer service, and when somebody asks you a question, either answer it or say, I can't answer you, but I can do this. So that's the only thing I want to say about that I feel like we kind of failed in that, and that we should do better. Okay? And also have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Thank you, Bills. Anybody have a comment? Okay.
Just want to thank Manager Stilldriver for sending out the email regarding the working with the road commission on that sign and the solar lights over. I was at Isabella and Baseline. Yes, that is a bad area, so thank you for letting us know that that's going to happen in the near future.
Yes.
Yes, that's a horrible corner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I-
Trustee Thang?
I do have something. In the last week or so, I've had a couple people inquire about talking a little bit more about the cross connection program. And the question they were asking, and I know we were given all the information a few years ago about this, but I couldn't answer them. And if I'm understanding right, the township I believe the township is requiring anybody who has a backflow to be checked once a year. Whereas in the city or even the state only requires it 3 to 5 years. I don't have that exact, but it's not every year. If I'm understanding the conversation I had correctly. So my thought was, if that is true, why is the township asking every year? Because there is a considerable cost to that. Now, I understand it has to be done, no doubt about that. But if it's true where the state only requires it 3 or 4 or 5 years, and the city is kind of going along something along those lines, why would we be asking our township residents to go every year? And so I guess I posed that question.
I don't think it's every year. My house only got done once.
Manager,
do you have
Manager
a-
Stilldriver, do you have a?
I don't have
Okay.
a fulsome answer for you tonight. I will provide you one. We do, as part of our ordinance, have cross-connection inspection requirements. And the backflow preventer, I think, is a solution just to eliminate certain risks. And basically the risk is trying to keep what we don't want coming back into the water system. But we'll provide a report on what the current ordinance is, and then you can go from there.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Any other discussion on that? Okay. Clerk Cody?
I submitted the state reimbursement for the presidential primary election. That's been submitted, and hopefully we'll get that back soon.
All right.
It's a little over 20,000.
All right. And the only thing I got for you guys is have a wonderful, safe weekend and be safe out there. Don't get too much sunburn because I tend to burn. So, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
Motion and support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And closed at 7:55 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.